Hello there everybody, RegiTime here, and as you can see today we are playing 4 tables on Unibet, and shortly I'm going to be joined by some members of my study group. I'm playing the tables with this overlap, which some of you may find somewhat annoying, but when I was doing Twitch streams, people said if we had the tables too small it was difficult to see the bet amounts, to see the cards, etc. So even though there is some overlap, I'm hoping that isn't going to detract too much from your enjoyment of the video. I guess we'll have to wait and see, but yeah, there we're at with it. So I'm going to pause the video now and bring in some members of the group, so you won't notice any pauses, because next time you'll hear me just generally chatting away to the guys that I'm currently working with. Yeah, away we go. We're all on candid camera now, so hopefully we get some interesting hands coming up.
Hopefully.
I did play a session last night and around this time of night, and the game seemed okay, to be honest with you. And I played another session this morning, and it seemed too bad too. But I think as there's currently 94 people in the pool, I think as that drops, hopefully the games will get better, because I'm firmly the opinion of the less traffic there is on the site at any given time, the softer the games are likely to be. I think a lot of the regs just give up once there's not much traffic going around. I think a lot of the regs call it a night, and quite often can leave some good games behind. So hopefully that'll be the case again. I'm not entirely sure what the makeup of this site is in terms of where most of the players come from. I don't think it's got a particularly heavy Eastern European base, but I could be wrong. Now, this guy's been quite efficient.
Could some of them be multi-tabling?
Yeah, I'm imagining I'm 4 of those people, for example, I would guess. And it's impossible to know who's a regular. I mean, there are some, like on the bottom left table, we'll see again in a minute. There's that player, Crimbo. He was playing last night, he was playing this morning. I'm going to presume he's a regular, and because I only ever see that avatar and that name at one table, I'm going to assume he's probably a regular that is not multi-accounting, because you're not multi-accounting on here, but you know what I mean. He's playing on multiple different aliases, I'm going to guess. So hopefully we get some action with the kings, and we do. We get a good flop. So I'm going to c-bet here, and I'm going to do one of my favourite lines that I don't use very often. C-bet flop, then check shove turn, because I think people do tend to flop pretty wide, and then maybe I can convince them to stab turns and then get confused. Or they can just automatically shove on me, which is, whoops, never mind.
That's unbelievable, isn't it?
Never mind.
Hello,
Shit
boys.
like that. Hello, not sure. Is that Raw?
Raw, yeah.
Hello, mate. You just seen my first devastating hand of the night. And things like that genuinely don't bother me. No, you said in the past, James, you're surprised by how laid back I am at stuff like that. That stuff doesn't bother me at all. Just because shit happens, doesn't it? I get that as much happening to me as happening against me, so I'm not bothered about that. I'm going to raise here. I hope he has some kind of king or some kind of high club. And I guess we don't have to raise, but I want to start building a pot for when he does have something. He did min 3-bet me pre-flop, so there's every chance it's just a bad player who's going to really badly misplay an overpair. So if I bet that much, we can easily shove the river card without it being a particularly large bet. Let's hope we're not being cooled again. Oops, we have been. We just got quads this time. There we go. Happy days.
Jesus Christ.
Happy days. I did not expect pocket sixes that turned quads to be like his min 3-betting range. That wasn't entirely expected. That was disappointing, shall we say.
Do you think you should prioritise bet sizing over hand reading?
I'm not sure what you mean by that. Let me just have a think. going to do about this shove? I don't know what to do here. I think I'm just going to fold, I think. Do I should prioritise bet sizing over hand reading in what
you
way?
know what I mean? It's a flop like 7-3-3, right? And you think he's never got 7-3. You know he's raised and called under the gun, but he shoves. You know what I mean? For 200 big blinds, and you've got aces, and you call it, and he's got 7-3. He's got 7-3. You know, it's you go. I should stop this hand reading.
Yeah, I mean, I think
these shoves.
you see some bizarre things, and I mean, the problem is you can't hand read people, can you? You are where you are with it. You've either got a hand you want to stack off with, or you haven't. I mean, there's nothing much we can do with either. We just lost 200 blinds in a matter of seconds. There's nothing we can do about either of those things. Yeah, getting it in with a flush when the board pairs isn't something I'm going to enjoy doing much, but giving him in 3-bet pre, I think he's way more likely to just have aces or kings there than he used to have once. I think it's much more it's going to happen, and that the aces versus kings, yeah, I mean, I've seen that he's shoved on me. He's clearly got a hand he likes, but again, we're bang at the top of our range. What are we going to do? All you can do is hope that when we make some strong hands, we somehow find a way of getting paid off. It's pretty much, it's the only way to look at it. Otherwise, you just go insane and you'll quit sessions early all the time, or you'll monkey tilt like there's no tomorrow. As long as the games are looking good, I don't care. If we go down 2 buy-ins in a speed poker game, I get quite depressed about it all because it's hard to get it back in a speed poker game. In what's hopefully going to be quite soft games, it's not so much about getting your money back. It's just about feeling like defeated right at the start of a session. There's a lot more hope in these games that it can still be a positive session than there is when things go wrong in a speed poker game. The guy's
still at the table to get the money back for one.
Well, there is that, yeah. I mean, hopefully that's going to be the case. I think we're just going to go bet shove here with my ace jack. The 3 is obviously a pretty good card for us. Oh, I'm not. I'm just going to go bet. I mean, I try not to go through sessions like thinking, I need to go and stuck this session, because it's just not the right way to approach things. But I'm a human being like everybody else. And now and again, we do get a little bit blindsided by what's happening to us in the short term. And it can, even though I do feel I deal with it better than a lot of people, it's still it can be hard to deal with. When you lose 2 buy-ins in that quick succession, it is quite easy to start suffering a little bit from like injustice tilt, the old why always need tilt type thing, and it's not helpful. Which is why doing this for you guys is quite useful, because if I did want to rage, I can hardly do it when I'm talking to 3 or 4 people and recording it. You'd look a bit of a twat, wouldn't you? You know, you just started randomly raging like Toughish used to. Don't think it'd be a good look. But we are going to keep trying to call with, well, we won't until he's squeezed. And try and call with these types of hands just to try and flop some equity so we can start getting creative, but obviously we're not going to. We're not going to continue now. Even though this guy clearly is. So it's a shame we can't mark him and keep him for future, because his sizing does look all over the map. He min 3 betters earlier, now he's just making like huge squeezes. So this guy's clearly a bad player. Hopefully we'll get a chance to take some of his money at some point. I'm going to be raising here and just stacking off. Again, don't expect him to fold a 10. Who knows, maybe he folds better ace size. Maybe he folds some pocket pairs though. And if he doesn't, we've still got a bunch of equity, so I'm fine with it.
Are you recording or?
I am recording, sir, yes.
Okay.
I started recording about 9 minutes ago, so there's still plenty of time for you to have some input. I don't know what you guys think about that raise and call it off there with the suited ace.
Don't know.
I mean, yeah, we sucked out, which is nice.
Before and I always lost out, so I gave it up.
Well, I think that my opinion is that he's going to, people that see bet in those boards too late, but I don't know anything about him. I do think people see bet too much, especially blind versus blind. So we don't need an awful lot of fold equity to make that absolutely fine. Yeah, you don't have fold equity against the type of hand he had. Well, I'm sure there's plenty of things. If we sat down and really studied his range there, if we couldn't find enough folds to make that okay, I'd be very surprised.
Would you have done it against a full stack?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think we carry more fold equity against a full stack because he's risking more.
Yeah.
So he needs to be. I think that bet carries way more fold equity against that like pocket nines against a full stack than it does with somebody with 50 blinds. It's a lot easier to stack off with 50 blinds than it is to stack off, for 100 blinds with just like one pair. That type of thing. So we've flopped a set against him now, which is nice. Hopefully we can just cool him again. Yep, he's throwing dead. Virtually. They almost got there. That would have been quite soul destroying. He got one leg of the way there on the turn. And I'm just I was check calling the sevens just a bluff catch. When he checks back the turn, I think he's going to be giving up a lot, and then with like ace high type thing, so I'm not going to bluff catch this river on the bottom left table unless he gives me like a ridiculously good price. And yeah, he just checked down sixes. I think I probably would have maybe considered value betting that river had it bricked off, but I think the ace, he hits a lot of his range that plays exactly that way, I think, so couldn't value bet, and I wasn't really about to bluff catch. Fortunately, he just let us check down, which is nice of him. So how's everyone's grind been going while we're having a few quiet spells?
Going well.
It's
Going well?
clear.
I like that.
Real well.
Good, I like it. Patrick, you've been taking a shot at 50, haven't you, and pretty much crushing it?
Yep, I am up. Let's see what my stakes are. I am why can't I get this? Oh, here we go. Oh, that's by session. I'm the worst with this thing sometimes. I'm up 340 in a couple, I think about like 6 hours.
That is excellent stuff. So is that like maybe over 6 hours of regular table, and what's that going to be, about 2,000 hands, something like that?
Yeah, let me look and see. By stake. So 45 big blinds per 100.
Yeah, seems sustainable, sir.
Not bad, right?
Not bad at all. What about everybody else? How's the Sky treating you, James?
Yeah, great. I mean,
still going good?
Well, I made £100 last week, so.
Did you really? Very nice.
$150. It's good, doesn't it?
That is very
I'm
good.
just glad it doesn't have speed poker or I'd have lost it all.
Yeah, exactly. Fuck speed poker. And what about you, Michael?
I'm up 4 buy-ins at Bovada at 5 no limit, and break even at Bet Online.
Good stuff. And I know, Raw, you've not been doing too great, but you've decided just to be regular tables only this month. How's that feeling for you?
I'm up like 1.5 buy-in this month.
But how's the regular table grind feeling? Because you've been playing Zoom for maybe 6 to 8 weeks now, haven't you? And you've just decided.
Yeah, I've only been playing regular tables the 2 days this month, and it's been good. I found the cam tables at 888, where you have to have the webcam, are like super soft.
Yeah, they are really good, aren't they? Just sorry to butt in for one moment. I'm not sure whether to shove or just call with this ace jack. I think I'm more inclined to just call. Borderline fold, I think, but we'll go with the call. I don't like it though when someone check calls a flop then donks a turn when something very obvious gets there. I was a little bit worried about King Queen there, but I was also thinking of shoving because again the line doesn't make massive sense. What would you guys have done? I got criticised a little bit in my last video already for raising too lightly on rivers. I think it was when we had that 2 pair hand and someone bet $3 in the 16. We raised to 9 and got snapped by a better hand. So what do you guys think about raising that river with the ace jack? Would it have been too thin, do you think?
I don't think so, no.
I'm not sure because he took some weird line. I was a little bit scared of King Queen, obviously, but that does require him to have like check over the gut shot, which I'm sure people do plenty of times. But I don't know. I wasn't sure. My initial thought was just call. Then I thought, is this too weak? Do we need to be raising here? And then I just got confused and saw the time bank going down and kind of just bottled it and went for the call, I think. But quick straw poll, who would have shoved that river versus who would just have called?
I would have called.
You would have called?
I would have called.
You just have called too. I think call's absolutely fine. I mean, that's what I did in the end. So, this guy's been literally a monkey, so I'm not going to fold. I did 3-bet to get it in with him. And that's why. So, yeah, as you can see, they definitely had the decent games, these. They are decent games. You just got to pay attention. You just got to know who's doing what and when. And we're going to 3-bet really quite big here because of how deep we are. That's what we talked about last week. This is a big 3-bet, but with it being so deep, I do expect to get called a little bit wider than usual. But I don't care about making it too big. And yeah, of course, I want him to call, but I don't want to just give him a standard price of say 10 blinds to call and then sit 200 blinds deep against your position. I don't want him to fold. I just want him to be putting plenty of money in. Whilst I'm sure I've got the best hand and whilst my hand's really quite easy to play. We're not going to fold to this really small 3-bet. We are going to fold to any c-bet though. I don't know what did you guys think of the I called a raise here, didn't I? What do you guys think of the 3-bet sizing? Too big? Would you have gone bigger maybe or smaller?
No, I see the logic.
Anyone got any strong opinion on that?
Great.
You see the logic of it?
I'm not great big stacks, but I can see the logic, yeah.
The problem with playing deep stacks is a similar problem for all of us. Just none of us are that experienced at it because we don't get that much chance to practice it. So it's obviously going to be the weakest part of everyone's game because it's just going to put us in situations that we're just not used to dealing with on a regular basis. So it's pretty much like how our poker is. We're all probably best pre-flop. Our second best poker skill is going to be the flop, getting progressively weaker to turn and river because we practice those situations less and less. And then when we start adding deep stacks into the situation, everything gets progressively more difficult even still. Because again, with deep stacks, and the later streets are going to be even harder to play there. Because stack depth has a different element to something that's already not that well practiced by us. Got double good shot now, haven't we, I think? 4 makers are straight. I think we have to call here, getting good odds. And we don't make it, so mind. Fold the 9s. So we've got a good shot here and a backdoor flush draw. I'm going to peel just once. See if we can't pick up some equity or have him slow down or something. And he has slowed down, but I'm just going to stab here. He knows he might just fold ace high, king high. Don't interact too big because I'm only trying to make him fold high cards. And I do feel the check jamming those spots on people with them stack sizes. But I think if we float that flop and then don't at least try and pick the pot up on the turn, I think it makes the float less profitable. I'm very conscious I'm doing a lot of talking, guys. If you guys have any questions about anything I've done, we'll struggle to go back and review them because Unibet doesn't have a replayer. So if there is something you see that you're not sure about, try and ask it as soon as you can before the hand's like gone from the mind. And if I need to sit out at the tables while we talk about it, I have no problem doing that at all. But we don't have the option to go back and use a replayer because all we have is this thing when it comes to reviewing our hands went down, which is not very useful. It's useful enough when I'm just playing on my own, but it's not useful in terms of trying to review hands as a group. So please do, if you do see anything you don't agree with or anything you'd like me to explain, because like I always say, I don't believe I'm the oracle on everything. You guys have opinions that are just as valid as mine, and I encourage you to share them with me.
Do you have a minimum float standard?
It depends on the guy's stack depth, how wide I think he's c-betting, just how much I've missed the board by as well. There's lots of things go into it. When I flop like a good shot and a backdoor flush draw, blind versus blind, in a spot where I said earlier I think people c-bet too much, I'm usually not going to fall for 1 bet. But if he double barrels and don't improve, I'd probably just get out of his way then. But I think the floor in itself is fine. Like again, I'm going to move the floor here because we have the backdoor flush draw, we have the backdoor straight draw. And again, I just believe people see bet way too much. And when we turn equity like this, we can sometimes use it to be aggressive. If he makes like a weakish double barrel sizing or checks, if he'd have made like a pot size bet, then I would probably just call. If he'd have made a half pot size bet, I would probably have tried to semi-bluff him. Because I like getting after weak sizes, particularly on the turn from people who are out of position. Turn the straight here. I'm going to go for check raise. Again, because I think with double barrel in this spot, we get to fold a lot. But that board's quite scary. I mean, it was going to encourage people to, without like, see bet that board, then just check the turn. It looks like I'm giving up a lot. So, I mean, if he's got a full house, just fuck my life, basically. But if he doesn't have a full house, I think we've got the nuts, haven't we? Maybe jams are going to feel a little bit sad, but just flick it in, I think. But I don't want to be too easy to play against. Don't want to be too predictable. I think it's nice to have some kind of turn check raising range rather than just always c betting or double barreling on giving up turns. It's nice to keep people on the guard by having some check raising in the range, some check raise plus with equity, some check raises with strong made hands. And I think we're too easy to play against if we're always just double barreling turns that are good for us and giving up on turns that are bad. So would you guys have considered check raising there, or do you think it's always better just to bet to protect our hand and to get value? And I'm going to ask Raw this time because you've been sat quietly.
Just bet.
You just lead out again. I don't think there's anything wrong with leading out, and I'm not that arsed about balance, but I do think it's important that we try and keep our opponents guessing a little bit and not be too predictable. So would you ever have a turn check raising range? If you were the pre-flop raiser who c-bet the flop and had a value hand on the turn, could you ever see yourself check raising, or would you ever have a check raise bluffing range on the turn? Or do you play turns pretty much straightforwardly?
Pretty much straightforwardly. I would have to hold the absolute nuts, like no chance of getting outdrawn. Then I perhaps get
the immortal nuts before you take a chance on.
But I play
on
5 now, so the guys I play against doesn't think that much, I guess.
Well, let's be honest. I mean, this is only 25 and up, but we're not playing a bunch of like Ike Haxons and sauces here. You know, so there's going to be some difference between 5 and 25 and up, but it's not going to be like vastly different in terms of like how people are approaching the game, because we've got a mix of people in the conversation right now that play a mix of different limits. But I'd imagine we all play within similar boundaries, one way or another. What about anybody else? Anyone else have much of a turn check raising range? Does anyone ever check raise turns as bluffs? Do you ever check raise turns as the aggressor, as with made hands, or is it not something that anyone's really thinking about very much?
I've done it, but it's because of the HUD. Do you know what I mean? They'll call the flop and they'll fold the turn 100%. So then you'll check raise them with made hand. You know, but
right,
here
yeah.
I wouldn't have done
But
it.
if they're folding the turn a lot, if they're folding the turn a lot, why would you want to check raise them with a made hand?
Yeah, you'd be better check calling. But I'm just really meaning just don't bet it, you know, because you'll just lose them. But if there's a draw there,
and that's
maybe
kind
I
of
would try and check raise a good hand to protect myself.
Yeah, I think that 8-9 was a decent hand to do it with. I mean, if he's got a full house, we're just going to have to go broke anyway, because I mean, we've got the nuts straight. So I don't think we kind of like can ever get away from it if we just bet the turn he raises, and guess we're still going to stack off. But I think the way I played it gives him a chance to overcommit with some weaker holdings when he bets and gets raised. I think it gives him a chance to bluff sometimes with hands that he would just fold if I double barreled. And like I say, I think it helps keep our opponents off guard. I think you were going to say something, Michael, were you?
Yeah, well, I generally just bet.
Yeah, I mean, I've got this exactly the same situation here, where I think again I'm just going to go for a check raise, because I think this player is going to have top pair, 2 pairs quite a lot. Unfortunately, the board's gone pretty horrible, and I'm just going to try and save rake and hope that we don't stack on it. Use sensible to check back. And so there, I lost value that time, but maybe he doesn't call the turn anyway. But I just think on boards where people call the flop and kind of it's a coordinated board, I think we get less chances to fold on turns. I think when people call on dry boards, we can double barrel sometimes to get people to fold some like marginal hands. But on wet boards, people, in my opinion, or connected boards, people tend to stick around more on turns. So I think we can get them to stab more as well.
I'm in the
And
same
that
boat
might,
as you. I'd check raise the turn a good amount with made
Yeah.
hands.
I think it's something I was talking about with a couple of people maybe a month or so back, and he was telling me he started doing it quite a lot because he's of the opinion people stab way too much when we check the turn as the pre-flop raiser. And then James started talking about always check raising and raising paired boards, and it just made me think a lot about how my check raising and just like my general lines post flop lack creativity. They're just very, very straightforward, quite predictable lines. So I'm starting to think more now a little bit just about just the old-fashioned phrase of mixing things up. Because why not? I've been struggling to get value in some spots. I think I've been making it too easy for my opponents to give accurately assigned ranges to me. So why not just mix it up just a little bit? And I'm hoping these tables aren't going to stay heads up for long because for Forte, we've been playing heads up with a regular across 2 tables. Isn't really much on my to-do list, to be completely honest with you. It makes it quite fast. So hopefully either some players will join. This is the beauty of this site, I guess, though, that tables do quite quickly populate. And they'll either close the table on me or they'll force people to join the table.
So
hopefully
check
that'll
raise
happen
bluffing
soon.
the turn. That just sounds quite expensive.
Well, with equity, I
Yeah.
wouldn't do it with air. I would be looking to do it with like draws that I'm willing to just, when I do get caught with my hand in the till, we can just still like
So
get it in with some equity. I wouldn't just randomly do it like float an ace queen, like C-bet an ace queen on a 6, 7, 8 2-tone board and just check his turns. That type of, I wouldn't be doing that. I'd be doing it in spots where I have a strong draw.
Maybe a straight draw and a flush draw.
Something like that. So something like that, something kind of combo draw or something that I want him to, something that I basically, I think I'm going to get more fold equity with the check raise. I'm going to get with just a standard barrel. But I do think the turn does give you a bit more fold equity as well, the turn check raise, than just like a standard barrel does. So in spots where I'm really wanting to capitalise on fold equity whilst holding a decent amount of pot equity, I think that's when I'm going to be looking to do it. And this isn't a board that if I was out of position, I wouldn't do it. And I would see bet once because of my backdoor nut flush draw and the fact we could just make him fold a decent amount. But I wouldn't ever be looking to get too busy on this turn on that exact type of board texture. So, but like when I had just say when we had the 8-9, just say instead of the 8-9, I had a nut flush draw, say the turn bricked. That's when I'd be looking to do it because then with 2 overcards and a flush draw, that's enough equity to try and get someone to fold a pair that they're stabbing with on the turn. Then we can apply tons of pressure there. And when we do get it wrong, and they are at the top of their range, when they do have sets or whatever, or 2 pairs, and they're not folding, at least we suck out, some of the time. So it's a bit of built-in insurance, isn't it, against things going horribly wrong for us. It's a very old concept. I'm not doing anything new here, but I do think it's something that isn't happening as much as perhaps it used to. And back in before Black Friday, people were raising draws constantly, just all the time. Just draws got raised. You got to draw, you just played aggressively with it, and you tried to get all the money in. You're very much I used to see on like high stakes poker, people like Dor Brunson just going with the massively crude over bets. When you have like a pair and a flush draw, he's just shoving in 150 big blinds because, in his words, I can't be drawing dead. So that's all he give a fuck about. I can't be drawing dead, so it can't be terrible. And yet we hope to refine it a little bit more than that because I think I once saw him get it in with 3-4 suited on a board where he had like a pair of 3s and a flush draw. He got it in against Dario Minieri, thinking of, and he wasn't in great shape, but I think it was like a $400,000 pot, and I think Minieri only had like 1 pair or something. But that's just how games played back then, and I'm going to try and bring that back into my game because not only do I think it's reasonably effective, it's also a lot more fun as well. It's a heck of a lot more fun. And we are all recreational players, and we are meant to be getting some element of pleasure from poker, not just turn ourselves into professional fucking athletes.
No, Sky has been fun.
So we are here to gamble as well. We need to remember that. Just hopefully gambling with a bit of an edge. And I'm going to shut these tables in a moment because it looks like this one's dying. It just keeps like dying and resurfacing again. I might just shut them, pause the video, shut them, and then try and reopen some with where I'm not playing heads up, because I'm playing heads up now at 3 tables, which I don't mind, but I'd probably rather not be doing that. I don't think it makes for a particularly interesting video. Check raise. We raised here, not going to check raise.
I am definitely not a fan of Unibet's software.
Are you not? What do you like about it, brother?
I hate the way it looks.
I don't mind it. I think it definitely appeals
I'm a big
to
aesthetic
fish.
person. I agree with you, but
it has
the aesthetics of
it has an awful lot of like missions for fish as well. Like get to a flock with X, Y, and Z in your range and all this sort of stuff. It's very, very rec friendly. I didn't see about that river because we got counterfeited. Now it's very rec friendly, but there is plenty of regs on it. But there are like loads of like weird things. Like my latest mission, should I choose to accept it, which I probably won't, is let's see if we can get to it. We'll look at the end anyway. I'll show you the kind of thing that they do. But there's like loads and loads and loads of different missions where you get rewarded with like tournament tickets or like cash tickets and cash game tickets and all sorts of other things, sit and go tickets. I think it's pretty good in terms of how they are trying to build a site where the rewards are aimed more at recreational players than they are at regulars, which I think is absolutely fine. The fact I'm currently getting donated lots of like €1 MTT tickets that I can't be arsed with doesn't bother me, because I know that's the sort of thing that keeps the fish coming back to the site. So I'm happy for my lack of rate back to be distributed that way. I think it's actually good for the site long term. I'm just going to call here because why not? I know everybody's now. Good for him. But we're going to pause the video for a second. Yeah. So we've got 4 tables back now. We've been 3-bet by a complete random. And I think we're just going to fold with being out of position. I'm going to miss the flop most of the time. I'm not going to be able to continue too often, and I don't know anything about him, and he doesn't know anything about me, so I'm just going to presume that when people are 3-betting in these games, in like middle position versus cut-off spots, I'm just going to put them way more like some value hand, unless there's some dynamic build-up over the session. But at the start of a session, when I don't know anybody, I'm just going to assume it's for value and make some tight folds, I think. I'm not going to bet my age. The problem with not c-betting is you convinced not to call too many turn probe bets. Like this one. But we can't really call the river here, but I guess we have to call the turn because we might just have induced like a weak probe. Who knows, we might just stuck out sometimes too. It's just a bit of a shame when we let him get there, just he's in there with like a 10-jack type hand. It's a bit of a shame, but I expect to have a weak ace at a decent amount here. Not going to turn me 80 to a bluff. Just going to hope we somehow win sometimes. And we do. He just picks up a flush draw and a good shot, so. We 3-bet here and hopefully isolate the guy with the shorter stack. I think if he shoves, I'll call it off this time because he shoved on us early, didn't he? Maybe the second time I'd be expected to fold ace queen to somebody. I'm not sure I've got the stones to fold ace queen twice to a short stacker. Really don't think I have. So what do you think of the look of this site, Michael? Because you haven't been quite quiet this session. I've been aware that it's been quite a monologue. Is this sort of site you think would appeal to like America? Do you think this type of site and the way it's structured would, if America had a similar site, do you think it'd be a serious competitor to the likes of Bovada and America's Cardroom, or do you think they're pretty much integrated that much into the American poker culture now that a new site
real
couldn't really
similar to
attract them?
Bovada. The layout reminds me of Paradise. Remember Paradise from years ago?
I do just Paradise.
Yeah,
They have tables
you can
next
put
to
your
you,
drink
and
on it,
could
you
you like?
smoke on it, or
I
whatever.
think you could buy. Yeah, you could buy virtual drinks and virtual fucking cigars, couldn't you? And actually spend real money buying a virtual drink.
Yeah.
Fucking genius. Absolute total genius. And I think one of the very, very first poker sites actually allowed you to tip, which
Yeah.
again is fucking mental. Absolutely mental that people would tip on an online site. But yeah, that's how good the games were back then. People were paying money to have a virtual cocktail glass on the table next to them. It was yeah, it's a shame I was really bad at poker back then because I think I missed out on an
I
opportunity to
think
set
that
myself up for life.
PKR, you used to be able to buy avatars and jewellery and all that, didn't you? I think so, yeah.
Could you
Never got
really?
on it, but
Doesn't surprise me. That's one site I've never really got into just because it's such a resource-hungry piece of software. I've tried to download it a few times and I've got decent computers. I've had decent computers, and it's still just been incredibly sluggish. But I did play there for a little while. I liked like betting and then like making the chicken sign at people. I don't think it ever worked,
didn't know
but
that.
I just liked being able to do it. You know,
Was
it
that
was cool.
Carbon had where you could do some kind?
That was PKR. It was like a 3D poker site. It was like when was it launched? Maybe 8 or 9 years ago now, and it was aimed specifically at gamers really. And there was tons and tons of things that really did appeal to recreational players. And I believe it's probably still quite soft now. It's just every time I try to download it, even like the light version of it, it's just too it's too heavy. Good word. With a call here with it means a donk bet. We've got every backdoor known to man and 2 overcards.
But really, as far as your table selection, you really don't have any table selection in Bovada. If you're playing, if you're,
No, I guess not. I guess you can pick regular tables
yeah,
by
but
stack sizes, can't you?
the software doesn't show them unless the tables have less than six. Say there's 5 players or less on them, then it'll show the table in the lineup. It don't show full tables, so you can't sit.
Ah, right, I see. So you can only join
Yeah,
tables
or
that have
start a
like
new
open
table. Yeah.
seats. Yeah, but I think that I don't mind that anyway. 'Cause you'll never catch me advocating joining waiting lists because I've seen so many people and I've known so many people who like they'll join like be 12th on the list to try and get a seat with the fish. And I'm like, do you really expect that fish to be there when 12 people have cycled through the table? It's just I've never ever been one for joining waitlists. I think rather than join waitlists, I'd just rather start my own games or like sit and play heads up with people that I think I might, if I don't have an edge against them, even just breaking even against them. I don't mind because there's a good chance that there'll be a decent game breakout around you. There's one thing fish absolutely don't do is join waitlists. Fish don't want to join waitlists. Fish just want to log in, get on the table and play. So if you want to sit with fish, the best thing usually is to sit at a table with plenty of empty seats. Because you've got much more chance of a fish just finding you than you have of getting on the table with the fish by joining a waiting list with like a known whaler. I mean, I've turned down tables that have had like 10 waiting lists with like some of the worst players ever on. Just because I know that when that table finally pops up, I'm going to look at it. It's going to be 5 regulars sitting out. So it's going to be because that table isn't going to break until the particular fish in question has just lost all the money or quit the table. So yeah, you'll never catch me joining waitlists, and you'll never catch me advocating joining a waitlist. Maybe if you can be first on a list, maybe then it's worth it. But once you're like third or fourth on a list, really it's a complete waste of time. Did any of you notice the bluff raise on the top right table, not so long back with the King 10 suited? And what did you think of it? We floated with the King 10 of diamonds on a 7-9 board with a diamond, and the turn bricked out, and we bluff raised a 1/4 pot size bet because I mean I just saw the 1/4 pot size bet and thought, what are you trying to rep here? And like I said earlier, I do make a habit of going after really weak turn bets. think the guy donked into us on the flop,
I remember it.
and we
Yeah.
called 75 cents, and then he just bet 75 into 325 on the turn. And I just didn't give it any respect whatsoever. I just thought, no, that is just bullshit. And that is a spot where sometimes I can get caught with my hand in the till, because I am raising with very little equity if we get like called or 3-bet. But I think his line is so weak when he like bets like 75 cents flop and then just 75 cents turn. I think we're going to get more than enough faults to make it okay. But none of you has commented on it. But I think it might have been
No,
because
I
I was
saw you
just
call the flop, and then
constantly fucking
I
rambling
thought
on.
he'd bet and you'd folded.
No, I raised. I think he bet 75 until 325, and I raised to 4 something, and he folded very
I'm
quickly.
noticing Sky they like to min donk flush draws or turn flush draws.
On Sky, they like to fucking min donk everything.
And see if
They
you
like to
don't
min. You
raise
name
them,
it, they're min donking
they
it.
see you're weak. You know, they do have some sort of insight. They see you're weak, and then they'll pot the next street. You know.
Yeah. I gave up trying to figure out donk bets years ago. I just kind of let my hand strength dictate what I'm going to do, and then if I've got a read on a player, I'll use that. But against like fish who I don't know very much about, I presume a donk can just mean you like the hand in some way. I don't think they do it with complete airballs. It means you like the hand. That might be as little as bottom pair. It might be as much as top set. It could be a draw, and all things in between. So I just tend to, if I've got equity, I'll stick around. If I have nothing and I get donked into, I'll usually just fold, because if they're making that mistake often enough, sooner or later they're going to run into me. And I've got a hand, and they're just going to get confused. And because you know what fish are like, they'll just have. And I hear a friend saying it. One of them said it on Saturday night. I hadn't raised him. I hadn't 3-bet him pre-flop all night because I know he's a bit of a sicko, and we're best of friends, but also at the poker table like best of enemies. He refuses to ever fall to me, so I just didn't bother 3-betting him as a bluff all night. And I finally woke up with like queens or kings or something, and the 3-bet him because I know you get sick of me in the end, and he just called me with like, I think it was like either 4-3 suited or 5-4 suited. He just didn't adjust to me at all because he just convinced themselves that it's not that I've finally found a hand against them. They just convince themselves that you've finally, got sick of them, and they'll just twist the logic to a point where justify them calling. He's like, how can I put you on kings there? You did loose and aggressive. I'm like, well, to be fair, I haven't 3-bet you all night. And he went, yeah, I just thought you were sick of me. Like, yeah, I am sick of you, but that isn't the reason why I 3-bet. But that's what fish do. They will, if they want to continue in a hand, they'll just convince themselves that you're doing it for a reason other than value and call anyway. So I'm not going to over adjust the fish. Second time this guy's 3-bet me, isn't it, in this spot? So I think we'll just test the water because we have some blocker. We have a king. We have a king. The king's not the worst hand too. Not the worst card to have in your hand when you're going for a 4-bet bluff, I guess. And again, there's no reason for him to think we're getting out of line here because he shouldn't know an awful lot about us. And he has just folded. Fortunately, we didn't get to see it, but he did. So again, I don't know what you guys think about that, like 4-betting as a bluff there without that much history. But it is the second time he's done it in about 5 minutes. And I don't want to set a dynamic going where he always 3-bets and I always fold. So if we can just get a 4-betting with blockers early, just to set the tone of, come on, don't take the piss on. I'm not sure. I personally think it's not the worst thing to do, but I don't know what you guys think. I don't think many of you guys are doing too much 4-bet bluffing right now. What do you think, Michael? I'm guessing, Michael, you're not one for the 4-bet
I
bluff too
fooled
often.
Britta earlier with kings and ran him into aces, so that didn't work out at all.
So that was enough to put you off 4-betting for a while. Yeah, that's disappointing when that happens. It is disappointing. I'm going to 3-bet here just because I think we've got a clean enough image where we can 3-bet a6. It's effectively cut off versus button because we're 4-handed. I don't want to call because we've got this guy behind us who has been 3-betting a bit. Don't want to get squeezed. I think a6 suited is too strong to fold, so that's why I did that. Right, I'm going to end the video now because the last one's have been going on too long, but I'm going to carry on playing for a little bit longer. we're in the video now, so I hope the people that have been watching on YouTube have enjoyed it, and if you haven't, well, at least it was free. Okay, so see you all next time on YouTube, and we're just going to carry on with this session until I can't be bothered anymore. So